So for today webinar, since from the questions that we raised from the audience, actually most of the concerns were about the design of public space and how cities will look like in the post-COVID-19 world. So I collected here in this presentation a number of newspaper articles so that you can have an overview on what we have been reading from an expert perspective in the past months. And this is The Magic of Empty Streets is an opinion piece for the New York Times that was published on the 8th of April. So let's say in the middle of the pandemic, while the pandemic was moving from China to Italy to the US. And so this opinion piece is addressing the fact that this pandemic and these social distancing behavior that now we are accustomed to apply in our daily routines give us a rare chance to fix cities. And this article was addressing to difficult solutions and difficult decisions that at some point city managers and policymakers should take to reconsider how we will be using public spaces. I want to be very fast because probably you already know some of these articles that were published, and you can see here full references, so I think you can easily find them online. But basically, the discussion is around cities without cars. And how we can actually use the space that we currently have, but that is now used by cars and not by pedestrians. And so while the pandemic is moving and expanding globally, there is this awareness that we should reconsider the urban idea of our cities. And for example, this recent article was addressing this petition, an open letter to political leaders to reconsider the use of streets. And even from China, this shared bikes program is now giving you the chance to use bicycles for free during rush hours. And this is the first attempt that I saw recently to reconsider the design of streets. And here you have Newcastle, and you see in the UK. And so you see that from historical perspective on the top right to the current use, top down on the right, then this idea to redesigning space for pedestrian use, for bicycle use, public transportation on the left. So there is this attempt to say that streets are for people. But this is not new. I mean, we have been discussing for decades now. I mean, urban designers have been discussing for really decades about reclaiming spaces for people. And for example, in Paris, the beginning of January, the mayor of Paris announced this very challenging program, City of 15 Minutes. This is also something that is not new. I mean, the idea that you can find whatever you need in the city in just 15 minutes walk. But it is now becoming a trend, let's say. Now is coming back as something that should be really addressed as one of the main ideas that we should put in place. And recently, since I'm from Italy, recently Milano was presenting this very challenging plan to turn 35 kilometers of streets for cyclists and pedestrians. And as you can see, even Greta Thunberg retweeted the news saying that actually this is one of Europe's most ambitious plan. But again, this is not new since Milan started back in 2018 a tactical urbanism program called Open Squares in collaboration with Bloomberg Associates and National Association of City Transportation Officials and Global Design Cities Initiatives. Also, Milano established several years ago the Resilience Office as part of the 100 Resilient Cities initiative powered by the Rockefeller Foundation. So the city was already redefining a strategy in terms of resilient, inclusive and open public spaces. So in order to give back spaces to people and redefining the model of transportation and mobility in the city. So now Milan is trying to be even more ambitious through this open street program that comes now as a response to the pandemic. And as you can see, the plan is basically redefining priorities in streets, providing large and safe spaces for people and pedestrians, also to answer to physical distancing behavior that now we have to apply for daily activities. And these are just some examples on how the redesign of streets are redefining also the use of public spaces. And this was very powerful. I mean, this open street initiative was very powerful in Milano and influenced many other cities. I'm based in Bologna, which is not far away from Milano, and now we have just launched these strade aperte, open streets in Bologna. This was launched just yesterday because there is a group of organizations, so it's a bottom-up initiative that is pushing the local government in order to start a similar plan also in Bologna. And City Space Architecture, my organization, that is also the publisher of the Journal of Public Space, was one of the first 50 organizations to sign the petition. So we are now working in order to, push local governments and try to put in place what already in the past many urban designers and public space activists were suggesting was supposed to be the right way to understand public space and to design future cities. So the pandemic is actually somehow accelerating the process that was already there, and that there is a lot of knowledge, many books, researchers and professionals engaged in public space research and design.